Live from the Business RadioX studio in Atlanta, it's time for Dental Business Radio. Brought to you by Practice Quotient. Practice Quotient bridges the gap between the provider and payer communities. Now here's your host, Patrick O'Rourke.
All right. This is Patrick O'Rourke with Dental Business Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. I am coming at you live on location, State Street, Tampa, down in the T. Yes, where your host is originally from the T and proud of it. And that's Tampanian for those of you who don't know any better. With me, I have the privilege of being in the presence of Dr. Nick Kavouklis. Dr. Nick is a serial entrepreneur. He is a dentist, and he is the owner and seller of multiple insurance companies that have multiple plan types, and was the one who actually gave me my start in the dental insurance business. And that's what makes me a big hit at all the parties, is how much I know about dental insurance. He's also active in Tampa Bay communities, and he is USF alumni. No, I'm sorry, not Florida alumni, UF and FSU alumni, and the owner, operator, and founder of Paramount that went to Safeguard, that became part of MetLife, and also Argus most recently, which is now part of the Aflac organization. That is not what we're here to talk about, because frankly, we could have a Dr. Nick series on Dental Business Radio. But today, we're going to talk about his newest venture, and I'm going to let him talk about it in a second, but just to frame it for the audience, every time I see Dr. Nick, right, which is maybe once a year, once every 2 years or something, he's into something new. And he's like, let me tell you about this thing that I'm doing. And I thought that this one was good. This particular endeavor would be worthwhile listen and learning for all of you out there in listener land, particularly the oral surgeons, endodontists, periodontists, and general dentists, the top tier ones. And so just also to frame this, here it is at the Global Dr. Nick headquarters in Tampa, Florida. He has he still practices dentistry, and he has an associate. How many associates do you have?
One.
Just one?
Yeah, I still practice 1 day a week.
Gotcha.
I play dentist 1 day a week.
You play tennis 1 day. How many days do you play tennis?
3.
With all of that, and just to set, that's just set the table for all of you. Dr. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Patrick. It's great to see what a success you've become and what an influencer you are. And I think I'm very happy to be able to get my message across to your listeners. And you're right, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I think that's positive euphemism for attention deficit, right? But I started a dental insurance company in 97, sold it in 2002 to a small public company. And I started a dental insurance company because I hated dental insurance companies. And there's a reason why every big city's tallest building has the name of an insurance company, because they're making money. I stopped that, and then I started developing some oral care products, mouthwash, toothpaste, tongue cleaner, whitening gel, and breath freshener, and I sold those items on home shopping for a period of time.
My mom, actually, before I forget, loves the Dr. Nick's, the powder.
Oh, my all-in-one vitamin.
Yes, she likes. You'll have to
make sure you get someone before you leave.
Yes, she says thank you. She loves that.
After my oral care products, my no-compete was up in dental insurance. I started another one, and as Patrick said, I sold it to Aflac, the duck company, which, believe it or not, is the world's 125th largest company in the world. I was shocked.
I did not know
that I was able to attract them to the dead end of 4010 West State Street. But they bought me for my systems and processes. I was basically retired and was bored. And so I thought I'd build a new dental office. And during the process of building, I really wanted to investigate air purification. It's no secret that the dental office statistically is the number one worst air environment of all. Number one, by far. Why is that? Heck, we have handpieces that are spewing blood and guts and air 200,000 RPMs per minute, if not per second. And we wear masks, we wear coverings, and that's helpful. But if the pandemic did one thing, it increased the intelligent quotient of the average person with hand sanitizer, and air purification by 10x, right? Everybody's
For sure.
conscious about their
I always thought that doing all of that was weird.
And I think we've done such a great job with worrying about air pollution. We've done such a good job worrying about water pollution. Dental offices now, it's pretty much the gold standard to have water purification in your new offices. You don't want to squirt tap water into an open wound, and believe it or not, a lot of dentists still do that. I spent, I don't know, $4,000 or $5,000 on a Vista Pure water purification system, but I didn't have air purification.
So that's interesting. I didn't even know that.
Yep. And when you think about it, we spend 90% of our time indoors. 90% of our time indoors. 68% of issues come from indoor air quality. Believe it or not, 75% plus or minus 5% of employees will say they will leave an organization or their job because of the poor quality of air. So I did some research, found all kinds of gadgets out there.
Hold on, let's back up, not to totally throw you off. Has anybody taken dentistry and put it outside?
No, but we got to worry about outside pollution too.
Oh, okay. All right. So very good. So you're like, look, I need to find, I want to have clean air for not just myself, but for my patients. And so you jumped into a rabbit hole.
I did. And I learned more about air purification and gadgets and machines and toys. At first, I went on Amazon. And most of those things are toys. And the reason I say that is because there are really three really important aspects of how you judge air purification. Number one is the filtration. Is it a good HEPA filter? Is it a MERV? You don't want MERV, you want HEPA filtration. Does it have too much noise? Some of these units sound like an airplane. You can't talk to your patients and have a lot of noise. And number three, and this is really important as well, how many CFMs, how many cubic feet per minute does that unit exchange? The air exchange is what's important. Look, the CDC, which we totally trust now because of old Dr. Fauci, but the CDC says you've got to exchange your air in a healthy, just a regular accounting office 4 times an hour. 4 times an hour. Your average air conditioning system is going to exchange the air 2 times an hour, maybe 3. So you're trying to get to 4 to 5. Your AC is not going to do it. Our units, depending, and it's a calculation you need to make based on the cubic, because you want the height, the width, and the length. It's a calculation that you make to determine the proper air exchange. Typical hospital in Tampa exchanges the air. They use negative pressure, but exchanges the air about 15 times an hour. Our Cobalt 2x2 units is one of our models. In my 8x8x10 operatory, 8x9x10 operatory, will exchange the air 20 times an hour. And what I love most is my patients lean back in that chair, they look up in that 2x2 ceiling tile, and they see our trademarked surgically clean air logo lit up. And you'd be shocked. Patients will sit there and they'll say, wow, you've got a really clean dental office. I said, how do you know that? Did you see us mopping the floors and wiping the counters? No, but I see that machine up there. What does that do? I said, well, that exchanges the air 20 times an hour. That gives you good quality air. And they say, can I get one of those at my house? Or why doesn't my other dentist have that? Or this is really cool. So it's totally a marketing tool, and it really gives patients confidence. Plus, it's not easy finding staff in a dental office, right? And if you're trying to hire a hygienist or a dental assistant and you've got good quality air purifiers and somebody doesn't, they're going to choose you because they know you're looking for the difference.
So let's pause right there. So one of the complaints that I hear frequent right now is the second, because what I do for a living is I do analysis, strategic guidance, negotiate PPO. So people call, the dentists call, oral surgeons call, and they're usually upset with the dental insurance companies. God bless you guys. I got your back. And so once you are working through with the client, and my clients are long-term relationships, the second thing I hear right now is people. So what I heard, and I'm just going to repeat back what I heard. Hygienists in particular are like gold. right now, and there's a big competition for talent. And if I'm on the other side of Dale Mabry, and Dale Mabry is a major road here in Tampa, and I'm on the east side, you're on the west side, and we're both going after the same hygienist and offering roughly the same pay, and you're like, look, we have surgically clean air. This is going to get the hygienist to come to you versus me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Think about it. If you don't do it for yourself, we're exposed to a lot of stuff over the years. If you don't do it for yourself, and you don't do it for your patients, do it for your staff and do it for your family. You won't bring things home to your family, right? We've got the Toronto Raptors as one of our clients, and some of the professional athletes have installed these in their home, our Jade 2.0 in their homes, because they got kindergarten kids coming home and they're like Pigpen on Charlie Brown, bringing all kinds of bacteria. And the fact that it helps them missing a game because you got a sickness is
great. You got strep throat.
If you're a professional athlete, that's a big deal. So it's a minor investment, but it's a huge return.
See, I'm gonna have to say respectfully, I don't believe that. So we're gonna have to go to Toronto and go to a couple of games. I'll check it out, maybe get some autographs.
We have the Oakland A's, Toronto Raptors. We have the government of Ontario has 40,000 of our units. The school systems in Ontario have 20,000 of our units. And I can tell you firsthand, when I put one of these units in my bedroom, first of all, I love white noise. When my college kids started to come home after college till they found a job, they'd come in all kinds of hours of the night. And God forbid they shut the door quietly. And so my wife and I started using white noise to sleep with. This unit has a turbo mode that I put on with my remote at night, white noise. I sleep like a baby. My wife suffers from oak tree allergies. We have a lot of oak trees around our house. Mm-hmm. Sneezing and coughing. She has not sneezed or coughed since we've installed this in the bedroom. The old saying is, don't let your lungs be your filter. And so indoor air quality is so important, especially in the dental office. Think about it. That air purification and water purification both should be requirements in the dental office. Any conscientious dentist should want to have good quality indoor air, and your patients will appreciate it.
So what are they doing now? Speaking as a non-dentist, I don't know.
For the pandemic, a lot of dentists went out and bought whatever they could find on Amazon. And I'm more than happy to compare our specifications with any specification of the units that people have they bought online or they bought from Walmart or Costco. Or those are basically toys compared to and we really don't sell directly to consumers. We've been a B2B. We have all kinds of clients that really are strong testimony to the fact that we have a quality product that's not cheap. It's not a toy, but it's a penny a day. The other good thing about our sealing units is the fact that they'll pretty much pay for themselves electricity-wise because they're circulating that air. And the airflow, if you're a cold environment, it takes the hot air and moves it up and vice versa. Cold air moves it down. So there's a continual circulation of air. And those few pennies that you're saving will translate into savings of your electricity. They're not difficult to install. They run on typical 110. There's no special venting that you need. And again, I have so many clients I could give you a reference to say, hey, would you recommend getting surgically clean air unit for your dental office or for your home? And the answer is absolutely.
I remember the last time I was here and we were talking about it because I'm always interested in what Dr. Nick does, and you're like, you got to come see this, come see the office. And I was like, didn't really even know what to expect. And then we went into the operatory and then I pulled the thing out, right? Because I'm 6 feet tall. I just hit the little lever, and then you're like, that's all you have to do to change out the filter. That's easier than the one in my house. It's
easy to change out the filter, and the filters. Plus, our units for the dental office have proximity sensors, so when nobody's in the room for an hour, it goes off.
Oh, that's nice.
You're saving electricity. You're saving on filter. The filters in the Cobalts last 3 years.
Really?
I'd like to say 2. I don't really want to leave something in there for 3 years, but you can. If you leave it in there full of microbes and dust, it just makes it harder on the airflow of the unit. But I say 2 years, And that comes out to less than a penny a day. I really think that the dental office is the real beneficiary, not just patients, but the people that work in the dental office and the dentist himself.
All right. Schools in Ontario, which you would imagine that the Canadians are spending more time inside, right? Because it's cold. Professional athletes and hospital systems. And it sounds to me that it's as good or better than a hospital / an airplane, or the jets that are like, hey, we got the cleanest air in the world or something. That's what Delta tells me.
I'm not familiar with airlines, but it is reputed to be a good filtration system with the airlines. I can tell you we have approximately 40,000 units in dental offices in North America between Canada and the United States.
40,000.
40,000. But, Patrick, that only represents maybe 5.5–6% of the potential. 5.5–6% of the potential.
So help me understand this. So let's go back to you. You're a dentist, right? All my clients are dentists. Most of the people listening to this show right now are dentists. And so I would imagine all of them went down this path where they're like, hey, you know what? We need to have a filtration system, right? Of some kind.
You'd be surprised how many don't. And here's how I heard about this company. Everybody's familiar. Most people should be. Geez, hate to say it, 65, so I've been a dentist for a long time. And since I got out of dental school, I've subscribed to Clinical Associates from Gordon Christensen's newsletter that comes out every month with evaluation of products. And so they recommended.
Is Gordon Christensen good at that?
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't. This is.
You're not familiar with Gordon Christensen?
No, sir.
Okay, so he's 20 years older than I am, and he's still around.
Gotcha.
And he's got I hesitate to say, probably $1 billion corporation, Clinical Associates. And what their specialty is, they evaluate new products every month. And the way they evaluate them is they have a stable of 30, 40, 50 dentists, and they'll send these products to these dental offices, and they'll say, evaluate this Profi Cup with your hygienist. Evaluate this new gauze 2x2. Evaluate this new composite light, and tell us what you think. And they'll give you the good, the bad, and it's an unbiased, nonpartisan evaluation.
So it's like the Consumer Reports for dental professionals.
Right. And I'm sure most of your viewers are familiar with it.
Gotcha. So I'm the only one that doesn't know what's going on.
But it is.
Is that what you're trying to say?
What I like is that it's unbiased, and they'll tell you 75% of our evaluators rated this product very good, or would 95% said they would consider incorporating this product in their practice. And so one of their issues in 2019 recommended the Jade 2.0. And that's how I found the company. The
Jade was part of Surgically Clean Air, right, is one of the units.
We have 3 or 4 different units. We name them after rocks. Cobalt, Jade, Onyx, and we have an industrial unit for warehouses, but that's not relevant for dental offices. It moves 1 million cubic feet. We're in some Whole Foods, helps reduce spoilage for food. We're in some Amazon warehouses. But back to the products that are relevant for our audience.
It's still impressive.
The Jade 2.0 is a great plug and play. Stick it in, sits on the ground, or we have a wall mount. If you have concern for floor space, our Cobalt 2x2 and our 2x4 fit in ceiling tile, a 2x2 ceiling tile. I have one in all 8 of my operatories above the chair, so the patient leans back and sees that. Number 2, I have one in my sterile area. There's all kinds of stuff going on, the ultrasonics, spreading particles, and I have one in my reception area. And patients sit in there, and 99% of them ask, what is that? What is that thing right there? And they all say
it is fresh and clean, I have to say, when you walk in.
And it's not your imagination, Patrick. If you have enough proper ventilation with air purifiers, you'll physically notice the difference. It'll smell different. It'll feel different, feel cooler, crisper, and just something that should be, just like water purification in the dental office. It should be the same thing for dental air.
Gotcha. Thank you for sharing that. The other part of it that I think is really neat, and we'll probably put a video or at least a picture on your page, on the episode
I'd like
page.
to offer, and I don't know if you want this, but I'd like to offer the installation video when I put it in my office and use the particle counter. Particle counter will tell you down to 0.3 microns up to 2.5 microns. And I put the cobalt in one of the units during construction. And I came back, I took a particle measurement. And I
You just couldn't wait, could you? You've been known for your patience. I'm shocked to hear that.
And so I came back in less than an hour, and the particle count improved by 80%. And so you say, what particles? Well, whatever particles we're breathing are not going through my lungs. They're going through the filter.
Really? That's impressive.
I'd
John,
like to send you a video so that you can post it on your website. If dentists want to come in and just look at that video and say, how do I get one of these?
we'll put a link on the website, and
Also,
I think we
a
can.
discount code for your viewers, and that way, if they'll put in the discount code, then they can go to our website, surgicalcleanair.com, which, by the way, we're redoing. Isn't everybody always redoing their website?
I am. I've been redoing my website for years.
Give us a little time, but within the next 90 days or so, we'll be able to link your website to ours and allow your viewers to get a discount because of reference.
All right. John Ray, the Venerable John Ray, Deacon John Ray, he's not with us today, but he's always with us in spirit. And he, of course, he listens to the show. So John Ray, he'll get on that, John Ray, because he's good at that kind of stuff. And all of the team at Business Radio X and the Business Radio X family, which produces the show, we will make that happen. So how it works, dear listeners, and even for Dr. Nick, is that on our we have an episode show page, we have a website, and then for each episode, it's up there, and then you can download the audio. We're also available on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Google, like you name it, their podcasts are there. But the show page, we'll have a bio and then links to everything. Ladies and gentlemen, and dear listener land, go there, check it out, and then if they want to reach you for whatever reason, we have the Surgically Clean Air. And the other part that I was mentioning earlier is the blue that comes off that if I'm a patient and I'm looking directly up at it is distinct and it looks cool. And so I love that. And it makes me feel safe. And safety is important. Does that make sense?
Yep.
For any of our listeners, if they want to learn more, they can go to surgicallycleanair.com.
Surgicalcleanair.com.
Okay. And is there a phone number or anything else you want to share?
There's an 877 number, which I don't know by heart yet. Backing up just a little bit, it was this time last year that I was referred to this company. And I called up and said, is this a private company? And he said, yes. I said, can I speak to the CEO? He said, you can leave him a message. So I left him a message. I said, my name is Dr. Nick. I'm a dentist. I see dentists are a big part of your client base. I understand networking dentists through my dental insurance company. I'd like to maybe be an investor. So he called me back and we talked. He says, I don't know if you're lucky or what, but I'm not agreeing with my two founders. There were three founders, and I want to buy them out. So 5 days later, I was on a plane to Toronto, and 10 months later, I bought the whole company. And so March 4th was our closing. So I've been in charge at the helm of the company for 75 working days. So we have a lot of changes that we're making, positive changes, but I'm pleased because none of the founders were dentists. I think dental, let's face it, our verticals are not just dental. It's medical, it's nursing homes, it's assisted living, it's education. It's, like I said, anybody with a pair of lungs. But I think dental really has missed the boat as an industry to make this the gold standard. Let's don't wait for the next stupid China virus or pandemic to hit us up when we're not. Let's be prepared. So if you have...
Do you think that would help them make the case that they should be open? Because certain states closed and certain states didn't. And you got the barbershops open, but the dental practice isn't in some states.
That's a very good question. I'm going to answer it this way. September 23 last year, it's not been a year, there was a great 60 minutes segment, 15-minute segment. You can look it up on YouTube on air quality. And they had some experts, and they talked about air quality and the problems of the pandemic. And they said, are we going to forget? The interviewer asked the expert, from Harvard, are we going to forget the lessons of the pandemic? And he said, absolutely not. Number one, people are not going to forget how it hurt their business. But number two, what's more important is they are rewriting the standards and the regulations right now as we speak. There are several states, New Jersey, California, that are considering mandating indoor air quality measurement. IAQ monitors may be required to be put in every office, right? So get ahead of the curve. Don't make somebody do this because it's a government regulation. Don't do it because of that reason. Do it because it's just plain common sense. And so do I think that this is going to change the industry? I think it can, and I think it could definitely help. Certainly if there's another incident. And let's face it, it's probably not if, it's when we have another incident. And I think this is going to make you feel a lot safer. And I think it would be a good argument that, hey, I've got my indoor air quality monitored and I shouldn't be closed.
I can tell you as consumers, I'm a consumer, I have teeth, I could come. This is very important to me. It's huge. But me, my kids, my wife.
Right.
I'd also like to point out the one thing that intrigued me about this entire story, part of the Dr. Nick Chronicles, is that Dr. Nick wanted some clean hair, couldn't find what he wanted. Then he found a company. He goes up there, says, I really like this, and basically just bought it. And I think that's awesome. And that's why that's one of the things that I love about you, Dr. Nick.
Thank you.
Because that I admire that trait about you. So with that, until we have Dr. Nick on and we talk about MLR, insurance, or other fun topics that I like, we're just going to leave you, dear listeners, with surgically clean air. And as always, hit us up with your feedback, questions, concerns, suggestions, ideas, good jokes. Let me know what you got. Do appreciate your time. And I'd also like to thank our sponsor is Practice Quotient. Practice Quotient is professional PPO analysis, negotiation, and strategic guidance for top-tier dentists, oral surgeons, periodontists, endodontists, or multi-specialty groups. If you're a top-tier doc and you feel like you've got the cleanest air and you've got the best hygienist and you are working your tail off, but you're not making as much money as you used to because you have an annual loss of $500,000 or more written off as network participation discounts, and you don't think that's right, you should probably call the good folks at Practice Quotient, national professional services firm, clients from Anchorage, LA to Miami to New York, 470-592-1680, www.practicequotient.com. This is your host, Patrick O'Rourke, signing off. Thank you so much, all listeners. Thank you, Dr. Nick Kavouklis.
Thank you, Sir Patrick.
And until next time.